bit about the progress that Eddie Jones has made over the last couple of years?
Well, I think the biggest thing with Eddie is being healthy, and he's a really good football player. He gives you a lot of juice on the edge as far as pass rush is concerned. He's a good leader. He works hard, and really is playing two positions for us right now, and giving us some snaps at the end and at the buck position, which is obviously provides depth for your football team. But it's worked extremely hard. Played very well in the first ball game, and excited about seeing him the rest of the season.
He kind of admitted he had to get over the ego that he had. Did you sense that he had that, or was there a moment that he got it and said?
I think everybody goes through a maturation process of understanding how to work, and you got to overcome things sometimes through learning how to work. And I certainly see his habits a lot different now than I did maybe 3 years ago as far as his approach to the game. And I think sometimes when it's taken away from you, it helps. And with the injuries he's had to sit back and watch. And I know that that's been frustrating for him, but he's persevered through a lot of setbacks, so I'm real proud of him.
Coach, we saw Aaron, and we said him and some of the guys were kidding about the dropped interceptions. I don't think you and Coach Aquino were kidding, but is there some light point out of that where, hey, it happens and move on and don't do it again?
Well, again, we work on ball drills every day, and that's something we'll continue to emphasize. But turnovers will come, and we're in position to make the plays. That's the positive thing. The negative thing is we've got to cash in on those opportunities. And those guys are good football players, and we expect them to make those plays the next time around.
For the first game, after you watched the film now, did defense meet your expectations, or there spots that you look back at that kind of disappointed with?
Well, I think regardless of the outcome, you always can look back and find things you could have done better. And so there's obviously some things that we need to tie up a little bit in the run game. The end of the half was something we can't allow to happen. We need to have more awareness of that situation, and then we got to end the game better. So I think there's obviously things you always look back and the negatives, but you also look at the positives, some things we did, and we rebounded and played well in the third quarter and did some positive things. But, again, the next week's a new week.
Did you get a sense obviously they played hard, but maybe they weren't as loose or having as much fun as they should have? Was there some sense of any of that?
I thought we had great enthusiasm. I really did. I thought the guys had a good approach to the game. We didn't start the game the way we wanted to, but we had a 30-yard completion down our sideline. Was a large part of 14 play drives for 60 yards, and over half of it comes on one play. So you got 13 plays for about 30 yards. So just keep things in perspective about where they are, and that's what I try to do when I'm looking at a game.
As far as the power that these guys seem to pack with their hits and how hard that they can take guys down, have you had a group like this? Is this anything that impresses you?
Not really.
Tackling doesn't seem to be the problem with your guys, though.
Well, no, I mean, again, it's first game, and I thought we tackled well for a first game especially. I thought we were I think we ended up with 4 missed tackles defensive for 11 yards after contact. So that's a positive. But, again, you've got to continue to build on that each week. That's not something you can relax and say, well, we're a good tackling team now. Then suddenly the next week you don't play well in space and you create a lot of issues for yourself. So that's something we work on every day. That's all right.
Mack said that the term freshman, I think he was saying after the term freshman is dead, and I guess he was just referring to the fact that you guys want to get away from the junior. What's the thought there? Is it can't be an excuse, or what is the attitude when we're talking about just making sure they know that they can't be called that anymore?
Well, there's no excuses at all. When you play for Texas, regardless if you're a senior or freshman, we expect you to play well and play at a high level to a certain standard. So, regardless of what class you are, if you're playing, that means we have confidence in you, and we feel like you should play well, and you're going to be held to the same standards as everybody else. At the end of the day, we're not going to say, well, he's a freshman. That's not. We're not going to use that.
What's the biggest challenge with this Wyoming offense, and is it pretty much similar to what you saw last year?
There are some similarities. I think the biggest issue, obviously, is Carter Samuels, the quarterback, has got legs. Keeps a lot of plays alive. If you go back and watch the Fresno State game from the bowl game, off-rhythm plays, what I call. It creates an awful lot. Leonard's an outstanding receiver. He's a 6'4", 210-pound kid that can really stretch the field vertically. Whenever you're dealing with a space team and a quarterback that has legs is a dual threat, you've always got some issues. You got to make sure you have good eyes on the ball in zone and in man coverage. You got to do a good job of cutting the receivers off down the field, and you got to be very disciplined in your pass rush lanes, because you lose some lanes on a guy like him, he certainly can make you pay. So that's a dual threat quarterback and a spread system, and I think Dave Christensen does an outstanding job of what he's done from when he was at Missouri to now.
Doesn't seem like there's a lot of changes on the guys' side of the depth chart. You like what you saw, who you saw playing in this position.
Well, that's what we got, so that's what we're going to go with.
What did you think of Jackson? Spent quite a bit of time, obviously.
He's a good player. I mean, we're very excited about his production Saturday, and we expect him to continue to improve and take another step forward as far as a football player. But did a good job. Played fast, played physical. Was good with his assignments. So we're real pleased with his performance.
What about the guys next to Keaston? I know there's a lot of attention about who's.
Yeah. Well, I think we're going to be a little more like by committee, as we felt that way going into the game. And Tyrell Higgins, who played the nose as well, played behind Keaston, as well as Ashton Dorsey. And then Calvin Howell and Alex Okafor all played about the equal snaps. And then we also played Sam inside probably 12 snaps. So, again, I think we'll be a little more by committee as opposed to the first 2 years I was here, because we got some confidence in those guys. And I don't know that there's anybody that's really put themselves above the rest as far as from a player standpoint. Well, Kenny hit you, and so he's kind of, we always talk about friendly fire, and he certainly is a guy we always are aware of in practice, defensively.
I know you said after the game you kind of consider him a co-starter. I mean,
Sure.
is he a guy that
We felt that way going into the game. I mean, y'all put your and/ors or whatever at the end, but he's a guy. We've got 6 defensive backs right now we can win with. And he is certainly one of those guys. He's playing the nickel and the safety, gives us a lot of flexibility, put Aaron back at corner. And he's a really good football player, instinctive, tough. He plays the game. I told the defense yesterday, he plays the game the way it's supposed to be played.
What about Shockey? Rate his performance and think that there's some improvement.
Well, certainly you want to finish on the interception, and that's certainly a play that I know he wants back. And nobody hurts worse than Shockey does. That's the thing to me. And then obviously on the one fade on our sidelines, he's got the receiver cut off. As he reaches back, he's got to track the ball and continue to accelerate down the field. On the caused fumble by Sam Acho, the ball's going to Shockey Brown's guy, but the guy couldn't get off the line of scrimmage. So quarterback holds the ball. We cause a fumble. We score. Nobody ever sees that in the stat book. But, he really covered well other than one play. But, the way we play, we're going to play a lot of bump and run, and we're not going to change. We got to continue to finish those plays down the field. So I really look at 2 plays that I would think were not up to his standard or our standard. Other than that, he played pretty well. Thank y'all. All right.